And our program guest this morning is the Finance Minister, Penny Wong. And later on, Mike Bowes and Talking Pictures. And while Julia Gillard was trying to raise her profile at world events, Kevin Rudd, it seems, was trying even harder.
He has basically a half a cricket length full of photo galleries. 131 photo galleries, and there are more photos within. These are all galleries. There are literally thousands and thousands of pictures of the man.
He is more photographed than the Kardashians.
That's in the second half of the program, but before then we'll take a look at what the Sunday papers are saying. And Dennis Atkins, I don't think the front pages are going to be very much help to the Australian boy facing drug charges in Bali.
No, I don't think they are at all. The family of the boy have done a deal after a bit of a bidding war between Australian media outlets, and they've done a deal reportedly for more than $200,000 with the Nine Network, focusing on 60 Minutes with an interview which they say will be filmed in Bali, all things going well, next Friday. I think this front page story might actually mean that all things won't go so well this week for them. I don't think the Indonesians are going to be pleased, and also I think this young boy has had a fair bit of public sympathy in Australia, but I don't think this is going to help that sympathy. I think it might drain some of it.
And Qantas Mission, they're starting the brand rebuilding exercise.
Step right up. Every child wins a prize, Barry. That's right. So Qantas are in the papers today talking about how they will give 100,000 free flights to people whose travel was disrupted last weekend in the shutdown. But also it appears that every frequent flyer, regardless of whether they were personally disrupted, is also going to get some benefit in their frequent flyer points. So it's quite a big and expensive exercise for the company as it attempts to rebuild its brand and its public support after quite a tide of public hostility to its actions in locking out the staff or disrupting grounding the fleet without any notice to the public.
And Michael, talk of a reshuffle with the Gillard government in the new year.
Yes, this is Samantha Maiden in the Sunday Telegraph. Gillard eyes reshuffle, and there's not a lot of attempt to camouflage where this one's come from, but it says Julia Gillard is being urged to reshuffle her cabinet to consolidate her leadership, with proven media performer Bill Shorten likely to emerge as a winner. So the idea basically, I think, there is that the government has a couple of big issues. We've just had the Qantas dispute, industrial relations. The Industrial Relations Minister, Chris Evans, is a bit of a nowhere man in terms of media appearances and ability to be able to control the situation and get the government's message across. And of course, Bill Shorten was there in Melbourne when the whole Qantas thing hit the fan last week and took a lot of the airtime. Secondly, as well, the government is being hurt much more than people really think by this whole pokies dispute and the push by Andrew Wilkie to put the pre-commitment onto the pokies. The minister there, I think, is Community Services Minister Jenny Macklin. I think the line coming out of here, presumably from Shorten, is that this is hurting the government. Someone needs to take control of it and fix it, and maybe he's the guy to do that.
For Bill Shorten, if he's going into IR, Dennis, so that would also elevate him into cabinet. Of course, he's not in cabinet at the moment.
Yeah, excuse me, it would be an enormous promotion for him. He's right down the bottom of the ministerial pecking order at the moment, and this would get him somewhere up in the top 15 or 18. So it would be a big promotion. He thinks he's ready, obviously. It's a tricky exercise for Julia Gillard because of the close numbers in the parliament. If she reshuffles within the ministry, then she can probably get away with it. But if she starts sort of sacking people or shunting people off to the backbench, you start to deal with political egos, and who knows what that might provoke.
And even a leader in most advantageous of political terms that has a lot of political capital to burn is always nervous about doing that. So someone on a absolutely slimline majority would be really quite nervous about making those calculations.
Well, yes, but I think we can't underestimate the fact that the government does think it needs a stronger voice on industrial relations, and ministers were impressed by the way Bill Shorten handled himself in Melbourne last weekend.
And he would give it his full attention because he's not, as you said, focusing on the leadership. Here he is on 3AW.
Are you interested in leading the Labor Party?
No.
Never?
No.
If she steps down for whatever reason, are you a candidate?
Mate, I'm never going to deal with hypotheticals.
You said at the beginning of this interview, never ever would you want to be leader. Do you stand by that?
Yep.
Never ever?
Yep.
That'll surprise a lot of people.
Surprised a few people here as well. I mean, you can take loyalty just so far. Maybe every politician has one never ever in them. That's what he's relying on.
I think that's never ever really for politicians really applies to the next election, by and large. That they've got really one thing they've got to do. First, well, a couple of things. First, they've got to defend Julia Gillard's leadership from the threat from Kevin Rudd. Shorten is obviously the main factional warlord who installed Julia Gillard in the lodge over Rudd. He wants to get in there in a circle to defend that, and two, then they've got to go to an election and fight off Tony Abbott.
Yeah, but that does introduce something that Bill Shorten at some time is pretty certainly going to have to walk away from, because most people know he does want to be leader.
Eventually, yeah. And Misha, there seems that there's one promise to rescind that the opposition now wants to rescind.
Indeed, a rescission of a rescission. The coalition looks set to actually leave in place Labor's bid to increase superannuation contributions for workers from 9 to 12%, which is tied in with the mining tax package. What the coalition have been saying consistently is that they will oppose the mining tax and they will oppose all of the spending measures that are offset by it. It seems they've had a change of heart on Friday, and they've now decided that if the legislation goes through the Parliament, they won't vote for it, but if it goes through, they wouldn't move to roll it back if they win government next time.
So how do they pay for it without a mining tax?
That is the very big question, and that's not clear at this point.
I think, Barry, this shows the extent to which the Abbott opposition, the Liberals, are becoming increasingly populist. And it's often presented that this is some sort of gift from the government to workers, that they get this superannuation payment from 9 to 12%. It's really saying to workers that another 3% of your wages, you're being forced to save it. You can't get it in your pocket. You have to save it until you retire. So it's no great gift. It's just saying to people you are forced to save more.
But the gift is the tax concession.
Small tax concession, but then that, of course, that comes out of the budget bottom line, which the government will have to make up elsewhere, and that'll have to come out of taxes or lower or reduce services, or out of the mining tax.
Yeah. OK, well, that's the Sunday Papers, and we'll go to our program guest now, the Finance Minister Penny Wong, who joins us from Adelaide.